He may have been harsh, but now that's one less person. There are billions of people. I will find my tribe, but thanks for not wasting my time. Why would you want someone to waste your time to spare your feelings?
Right?
Your time is way more important than your feelings, because when your time's up, your feelings are done. Your feelings rely on your time. Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane and Mark in Blue Box 29. Today is February 3rd. We are on the first week of February, which is the month of sacred bonds, the beloved and the binder. We are in the awakening of love. So it's very light in the beginning of February. As we know, this is the month of love, and true love doesn't survive without its own trials and tribulations. Right? We can't test that it's real if we don't ever have a test. So while it's light and fresh this week with just the awakening of love, we're going to kind of enjoy it. But the awakening can also be scary and painful as well. We're going to see a little bit of that today with our 4 stories. So today is February 3rd. It is the longing. So our stories today are focused around the longing, and the theme is love across distance. So love across distance and the longing. A couple of these, well, at least one of these stories we've seen before, but our 4 stories come from Japanese, Inuit, Greek, and Aztec folklore. So we're going to look at the longing and love across distance with those 4 stories. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1, and Hikaboshi. In Japanese tradition, longing is not weakness. It is devotion stretched across time. Love does not disappear when it is separated. It becomes a discipline. It becomes remembrance. It becomes something that must be carried with care. Was the daughter of Tente, the Sky King. She lived beside the Amanagawa, the river of heaven, weaving robes for the gods. Her cloth was precise and luminous, each thread placed with attention. The sky itself depended on her work. Orihime loved her weaving. She loved the quiet rhythm of it, the way her hands moved without hurry, the way care became beauty through repetition. In the old stories, weaving is never only craft, it is older, it is responsibility, it is devotion made visible. Across the river lived Hikaboshi, a cowherd who tended celestial cattle. His work was steady and humble. He rose with the stars and slept beneath them, guiding living beings across open sky. Where Orohime shaped the heavens, Hikaboshi sustained them. They did not meet by chance. Tente, seeing his daughter's loneliness, arranged their meeting. And when Orihime and Hikaboshi saw one another, recognition was immediate. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, simply certain. They married, and in their joy they forgot their work. Orihime set aside her loom. The sky garments fell into disorder. Higeboshi neglected his cattle, which wandered across the heavens, trampling what they should not touch. The world below felt the imbalance. Seasons faltered, patterns frayed. Love, unattended, had become neglected. Tente watched. In Japanese folklore, authority does not punish out of anger alone. It restores order. The Sky King separated Orihime and Higeboshi, placing them on opposite sides of the Amanagawa, the great river of stars. They were allowed to see one another, but not to cross. The separation was absolute. Orihime wept. Higeboshi stood silently, his longing heavy and disciplined. The river between them shone cold and wide, impossible to ford. Longing settled into their bodies like a second sky. Yet this was not abandonment. Once each year, on the 7th night of the 7th month, magpies rose into the heavens. They formed a bridge with their wings, allowing Orihime and Higeboshi to meet. One night, one crossing, one return. If it rained, the river flooded and the bridge dissolved. Their meeting depended not only on devotion, but on conditions beyond their control. This is the heart of the story. Love survives not because it is constant, but because it is honored. For the rest of the year, Orihime returned to her loom. Her weaving became even more careful. Infused with longing, Higeboshi tended his cattle with renewed devotion, grounding his love in responsibility. Distance did not lessen their bond, it refined it. Longing became sacred. In Japan, this story is remembered during Tanabata, the Star Festival. People write wishes on strips of paper and hang them on their bamboo branches, sending their hopes upward like threads. Not all wishes are for reunion. Many are for patience, for endurance, for love that remains steady when fulfillment is delayed. Orihime and Higeboshi did not seek to escape their fate. They lived within it. Their love stretches across the sky, visible every night for those who know where to look. Two stars separated by a river of light, holding one another through distance. In this tradition, longing is not a failure of love. It is love remembering itself across space and time. Story 2, The Sun and the Moon. In Inuit tradition, longing is born from pursuit. It is carried across darkness. It becomes the light by which the world learns to endure. Love does not always begin in harmony. Sometimes it begins in violation. Sometimes it survives not by reunion, but by distance that preserves what cannot be repaired. In the time before the world took its present shape, there lived a brother and a sister whose names are spoken differently across the Arctic. In many tellings, the sister is called Melina, and the brother, Aningen. They lived together in the long dark, as families do in the north, sharing warmth, food, and survival. Darkness was not feared, it was familiar. In that darkness, one must trust what cannot be seen. One night, Melina was touched inappropriately by a man she could not identify. The dark hid his face. Shock and anger rose in her, sharp and immediate. She waited. The next night, the same thing happened. This time, Melina acted. She took soot from the lamp and marked the man's face as he fled. In the morning light, she saw the truth. It was her brother. Recognition came not as comfort, but as rupture. Melina's fury was not impulsive. It was righteous. She seized a burning torch and ran from the dwelling, fleeing into the sky. Aningen followed her, carrying his own flame, calling out to her, desperate and unrelenting. They ran forever. As they fled, their torches became the sun and the moon. Melina's burned bright and steady. Aningen's flickered and waned. His light diminished as his strength failed, while hers remained constant. This is how day and night were born. Melina became the sun, illuminating the world without rest. Aningen became the moon, chasing her endlessly across the sky, never able to reach her, never permitted to close the distance. In Inuit cosmology, this is not punishment alone, it is protection. Distance preserves order. Aningen's hunger, his desire to reunite, is said to grow so strong at times that he nearly catches Melina. When this happens, the moon grows full, but he never reaches her. His light fades again, reminding the world that some distances must remain. Melina does not look back. She carries her fire forward, lighting the way for hunters, travelers, and those who must move across dangerous land. Constancy is survival. Her refusal to return is not cruelty, it is boundary. Ningun's pursuit, though endless, is not forgiven. It is contained. His longing becomes a rhythm by which the world measures time. His failure to reach her keeps the balance intact. In the Arctic, balance is life. The sun's return after long absence signals hope. The moon's cycle teaches patience. Together, they create rhythm where survival depends on knowing when to act and when to wait. Love in this tradition is not reunion. It is restraint. It is a decision to keep distance so that the world does not collapse under harm repeated. Longing persists, but it is transformed into structure, into time, into the predictable movement of light across darkness. The sun and the moon do not meet, and because they do not meet, the world endures. It's story 3, Echo and Narcissus. In Greek tradition, longing does not always move toward another. Sometimes it circles the self. Sometimes it becomes a voice without a body, waiting to be heard. Love does not disappear when it is refused. It changes shape. Echo was a mountain nymph, a being of hills and air, movement and sound. She loved conversation. She loved the exchange of words, the play of wit, the way meaning unfolded when voices met. In the old stories, nymphs are not ornaments. They are forces of place. Echo belonged to the living landscape, to valleys where sound carries and returns. Her gift was speech, and that gift became her undoing. Echo once used her voice to distract Hera, queen of the gods, keeping her talking while Zeus pursued his many affairs. When Hera discovered the deception, she did not strike Echo with lightning or banish her to the underworld. She did something quieter. She took Echo's ability to speak first. From that moment on, Echo could no longer begin a sentence. She could only repeat the last words spoken to her. Her voice remained, but her agency was stripped away. Language became reflection rather than expression. Echo withdrew into the mountains. There, she saw him. Narcissus was young, radiant, and fiercely self-contained. He was admired by many, pursued by nymphs and the mortals alike. He returned no affection. In some tellings, this was cruelty. In others, it was simply unawareness. Narcissus did not know how to look outward without turning inward. When Echo followed him through the forest, she did so silently. She could not call his name. She could not declare her presence. She could only wait. At last, Narcissus sensed someone nearby. "Is anyone here?" he called. "Here," Echo answered, stepping forward. He was startled, then intrigued. He asked where she was. She repeated his words, shaping them into invitation without intention. When Narcissus saw her fully, she reached for him. He recoiled. "Hands off," he said. "I would die before I gave myself to you." Echo could only answer with his own words. "I give myself to you." The rejection was complete. Echo fled into the hills, her form slowly wasting away until only her voice remained. In Greek myth, this appearance is rarely sudden. It is erosion. Echo became sound without substance, presence without body, longing without resolution. Her voice lingered in caves and valleys, answering travelers who called out, repeating words without origin. Narcissus continued on. One day, thirsty from the hunt, he came upon a clear pool hidden deep in the woods. The water was still, untouched by wind or animal. When Narcissus leaned down to drink, he saw a face gazing back at him. Beautiful, familiar, unreachable. He fell in love. He reached for the image. It shattered. He waited for it to return. He spoke. It did not answer. He laughed. It smiled. He wept, and it mirrored his sorrow. Narcissus did not recognize himself. This is essential to the story. He did not know the reflection was his own. He believed he had finally found a love as distant as the ones he had denied. He remained by the pool, refusing food and rest, consumed by a longing that could not be fulfilled. In some tellings, Echo watched him, her voice answering his cries, repeating his despair back to him, the only one who could still respond. Narcissus wasted away. just as Echo had. When he died, a flower grew where he had lain, pale and bowed, bearing his name. The gods, having witnessed the symmetry of this suffering, transformed Echo fully into voice, and Narcissus into bloom. Neither returned to human form, neither found reunion. But the world was changed. In this myth, longing does not lead to union, it leads to awareness. Echo loved without being seen. Narcissus saw without knowing how to love. Their stories do not resolve one another, they echo. Echo becomes a sound that returns to us, reminding us that words spoken without care continue beyond intention. Narcissus becomes the image that reflects us, asking whether we recognize what we are truly seeing. Longing here is not holy because it is fulfilled. It is holy because it reveals where love is trapped. Story 4. Popocatépetl Iztaccíhuatl. In Aztec tradition, longing does not fade with death. It hardens into stone. It becomes landscape. Love does not always survive by reunion. Sometimes it survives by standing watch forever. Iztaccíhuatl was the daughter of a powerful ruler. Her name means white woman, and she was known for her gentleness and quiet strength. She was loved not for spectacle, but for steadiness. In the world of the Mexica, such qualities were not weak, they were rare. Popocatépetl was a warrior of great honor. His name means smoking mountain. He was disciplined, loyal, and fearless in battle. He did not speak of love lightly, but when he did, it was with intention. Popocatépetl asked Iztaccíhuatl's hand. Her father agreed on one condition. Popocatépetl must lead the army into battle and return victorious. Only then would he be worthy of the union. Popocatépetl accepted. In Aztec tradition, love is not separate from duty. It is proven through responsibility. The warrior left, carrying Iztaccíhuatl's image with him into every conflict. Each victory brought him closer to home. But war is fertile grounds for lies. When Popocatépetl fought, a rival spread false news. He told Iztaccíhuatl that the warrior had fallen in battle, that his body lay unreturned, that his promise had been broken by death. Iztaccíhuatl did not rage. She did not demand proof. Grief settled into her quietly, like ash. She stopped eating. She withdrew from the world. Her body weakened under the weight of longing that had nowhere to go. When Popocatépetl returned victorious, carrying proof of triumph, he found the palace silent. Iztaccíhuatl was dead. Recognition arrived too late. Popocatépetl carried her body into the mountains. He climbed higher and higher until the world below disappeared. There, he laid her down gently and built a funeral mound around her. He knelt beside her with a torch and refused to leave. The gods watched. In Aztec cosmology, the gods do not undo death lightly. Death is not an error, it is transformation. Moved by Popocatépetl devotion, Iztaccíhuatl to life. They changed the world instead. Iztaccíhuatl became a mountain, her body forming a shape of a sleeping woman. Popocatépetl became a volcano beside her, standing upright, torch in hand. Smoke rises from him still, the breath of a warrior who refuses to abandon his vigil. They are close, but they do not touch. One lies in stillness, one remains awake. Together they shape the land. The mountains do not move toward one another. They do not reunite in flesh, but their presence defines the valley. Snow gathers on Iztaccíhuatl form. Fire stirs within Popocatépetl. Life grows around them. Longing becomes geography. In Aztec tradition, this is not a tale of romantic tragedy alone. It is a story of endurance, of devotion that survives loss by becoming something larger than a single lifetime. Popocatépetl does not seek release. His longing has purpose. His watch is not finite. He guards what he loves by remaining. Istasiwatl does not wake. Her rest is sacred. Her stillness is not absence. It is peace. Love does not always cross the distance it longs to close. Sometimes it becomes the distance itself. Hey everybody, welcome back in. Hope you enjoyed those 4 stories with February 3rd, the longing. Our daily thread is that across these cultures, longing is not treated as weakness or lack. We learn to love through distance and discipline. The sun and moon are kept apart so the world can remain safe and ordered. Echo's voice carries love even after the body disappears. And we stand to watch forever over what we cannot restore. Each story reveals that longing is love forced to endure without touch. What is missed does not vanish. It becomes the shape of devotion. First story comes from Japan. And Orihime and Hikaboshi teach that love must be tended through duty as well as desire. Longing is not meant to erase responsibility, but to deepen it. In this tradition, distance does not diminish love. It sanctifies it. So the 7th night of the 7th month, the magpies would rise to the heaven and form a bridge so that these two could meet each other. So they're in the stars on the different sides of the river. And only if everything is perfect on that day do they get to meet. So it's not that they're completely consumed where the rest of the year they're not doing anything. They're tending to their own stuff. It was that they were so consumed in their love that everything else fell apart. And that's I think a word of caution of when we are so in love and infatuated with others and someone that it doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but we forget all the other responsibilities we had as an individual because we're diving in to our relationship and picking up new responsibilities and dropping old. So this one wasn't punishment. It was just survival in order for the world to continue. We've seen before the stories of love being separated. But on the 7th month, there's our 7 again. 7 is a big number in the folklore we've seen. The earth will reach to heaven for them to meet. So it's like that love is still needed and wanted. People want to witness that love.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's just cool. They get one day and we could look at that as tragedy, but they get one day.
Yeah. And
also,
here's the thing with them being deities and gods or whatever, how do we know what that one day is? That one day could seem like an eternity. Time is relative, and it only is really a thing to us.
They're never able to touch. It didn't make the love any less. I love you less because I don't see you every day. I can't touch you every day. It wasn't that. It just made their love stronger. Because I can wait for one day.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool. As we're looking at these stories too, we're looking at love across distance. We see the stars and we think that they're closer based on our perception, but they are very far apart. The distance may not look big to us on the outside, but it's immense to those who feel it. Our lesson today, and I think this first story was a beautiful way to segue into that, is that missing is holy. So to miss something is holy. Going right into the second one, and we saw kind of different variety of stories in here. So don't think that all of these stories are beautiful in their own way. And what I mean is the second one, the sun and the moon. Melina, right, and her brother. They're living in this survival and everything, and they're already in a land that is harsher, but she couldn't even sleep. So someone was coming at her in her sleep and touching her inappropriately. She couldn't identify because it was dark, so they were utilizing the dark. Right. I think that's what's beautiful about this is he was utilizing the dark to do this to his sister, whatever it may be. We're not gonna, whatever, it's just appropriate, right? And he will forever chase the sun because of it. She will always be ahead of him, and he will never be able to touch her again.
It's like the song of "You reap what you sow." And saying, I meant, but.
And while all of this happened and he still had his own light, it was dimmed. It was the constant cycle of where I go, Melina, where I go, you will follow, but you will never touch me. So his longing, I don't want to take this story as he's longing to touch his sister again.
Right.
I take it more as he's longing for that companion that was his sister. I'm not saying like relationship, love, whatever, but the moon is longing for its counterpart, the sun. But the sun recognized the rupture that was there. It needed space. Didn't need complete isolation or complete destruction. Just needed distance. We can survive and live on the same kind of field, but because of your actions, now we have to be separated.
Yeah.
This one was very much so our first story was separation and distance through survival, right? This one was separation through choices, actions, crossing that line. And of course, we know, looking into folklore and the historical significance, we really need to keep in mind the time frame.
Yeah.
Right. So no, it isn't okay to touch anyone inappropriately, male, female, whatever it may be. It's not okay to touch anyone's body inappropriately. But as we know in history, a long time, you kept it in the family to keep your blood.
Right.
Like royal.
Cousins, brothers, sisters.
And that's where you see some of the Harry Potter stuff. I think that's what all that mudblood stuff is about. The deterioration of blood, like the lessening of it.
Yeah.
And so you see that a lot within every single culture.
Yeah.
Honestly. So you do see that in every culture. So it's important to keep that in mind. But with this one, they do emphasize that it is not romance.
Yeah.
She wasn't upset that who would dare, like what man. It was, I'm getting touched inappropriately when it's dark. And I'm angry at that. Because she couldn't control it. So I love that flip is that I'm the sun. No one will sneak up on me again. No one.
It'll never be dim around me. You will never be able to sneak up.
And I love this part. It says, longing is acknowledged, but distance is honored. Love does not require reunion to remain powerful. Sometimes love endures by becoming light rather than touch. So their love endured, but it wouldn't have.
Right.
Had he been able to touch her.
Right.
Even though his pursuit is endless, it is not forgiven. It is contained. His longing just becomes the rhythm by which the world measures time. His failure to reach her keeps the balance intact. And that's what this showing is. No, he wasn't forgiven. I mean, he's endlessly chasing what he had right there that whole time. It's never fun to feel vulnerable, and definitely not fun when the person you're thinking you're safe around is the one making you feel that way. Story 3, we've seen this one before. I like reading about Echo and Narcissus. It's just a very interesting dynamic. Him not acknowledging and not knowing that that was him. He didn't understand that. He couldn't fathom it.
Just so lost.
And then Echo was sitting there and she's still witnessing him. So he's hearing an echo. He heard her, he saw her before. So he's just like delusional of, no, this person's so beautiful, like nothing else matters. And I think a lot of the time, Narcissus isn't just, oh yeah, he thought he was handsome, so only attractive people can be narcissists. No. It's not simply that. When we are so focused on ourselves and our perfections and, hey, I'm doing great. Yeah, absolutely celebrate yourself. Absolutely love yourself. But when you live in it, you aren't a good partner. And that person does echo away. Yes, Narcissus did not want to be with Echo. So that's not on him, I don't think.
Right.
He made that clear.
Yeah.
Very clear. Was it hurtful? Yes, but that's life.
Yeah.
And yeah, you may have been harsh, but now that's one less person. There are billions of people. I will find my tribe. but thanks for not wasting my time. Why would you want someone to waste your time to spare your feelings?
Right.
Your time is way more important than your feelings, because when your time's up, your feelings are done. Like, your feelings rely on your time. He was so consumed in himself. No one was good enough. That he dwindled away. He was longing for an equal. Right. I really think that's what Narcissus wanted.
Right.
Was an equal physically. Yes, there are other problems with that. Yeah, I know. But his longing was he wanted that beauty that he had. That little piece that you try to find the beauty in some of these stories. And if not love, what else would you die for? I mean, in all reality, if not love, what? So their actions were totally realistic in their heads. Narcissus, I will wait until you come out of this water. Like, I'll wait until you're here. Yeah. Echo, watching. I mean, if he doesn't love me, I don't need anything else. And so it's a little bit of both. I really have a hard time taking Narcissus when we read these stories, this one specifically. This version of it, I have a hard time taking Narcissus as a villain. I don't think he's the villain of Echo's story. No. I think Hera absolutely is the villain of Echo's story. And I do not think that when we are shut down, that makes someone the villain. No. Yeah, there are definitely people that will reject you that are way more hurtful. Like, I've gotten some hurtful rejections. And then I've also had to do the same, though. But I would rather take that than the wasted time. I 100% agree with that. I'd rather take that than the wasted time. And so you take your shot, you do your best, and then you just move on from it, honestly. And actually, rejection, I believe, studies have shown that the more you have been rejected, the better your confidence actually is, the more resilient you are. Like, people that never got that date, always rejected, kept trying with other people, they actually have more resilience. Right. They don't shut down as easily when they're told no in work or at home.
But it's that if they were continuing to try. Now, yeah. If you get rejected and you don't try, then
never again, right?
You're
and
not
this isn't continuing to try with the same person.
Right.
I'm gonna put myself out there, and if I get rejected, okay, I get rejected, but.
And that's the same as like someone like looking for a job. You know, you get rejected once, who cares? Like, keep looking to find what
don't
fits.
Be angry.
Yeah.
Well, like, you can be angry, but to lash out on people or to try to force them.
Yeah.
Like, no means no. In the first story or the second story we saw today, sometimes you shouldn't have to say no. Most of the time, you shouldn't have to say no for someone touching you.
Right.
Like, a 100%. In your home, absolutely, right? But then there also is that aspect of when it is your partner. That's a little bit different.
Right.
But anyways.
Yeah, because no booty cheeks are safe.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to live in a place where you can't touch a partner.
Right.
Or you're not getting touched. The important note for this one is that Echo and Narcissus is not a moral tale about vanity alone. It is a story about failed recognition. Echo is unheard because she cannot speak first. Narcissus is unloving because he cannot see beyond himself. Longing persists, not as romance, but as a mirror that reveals where connection breaks down. I 100% think that Echo and Narcissus were their own mirrors. One was just the voice and the other was the eyes. And they were failing to recognize the other.
Right.
Because she also failed to recognize who Narcissus was.
Why'd you go back? You know, because in the other stories, she just disappeared and like her body disappeared. But it didn't say that she stood there by him while he freaking died like it did in this story, pretty much.
And I think that's how she kind of dwindled away into just an Echo completely. Because there's a lot of failed recognition here. Failed recognition in yourself and in others. But I really like Echo and Narcissus. Story 4. This one, I do remember throwing shade at it when I was reading it. There's so much going on in my head. They were they were allowed to get married, right? White woman. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say their names is what they mean because I'm struggling with the pronunciation. So white woman in Smoking Mountain, the father agreed that they could get married on one condition. Smoking Mountain must lead the army into battle and return victorious. Only then would he be worthy of the union to the guy's daughter. So he goes, he's like, all right, war's a fertile ground for lies and for silencing people.
Who was it that in this story that lied to her to make her essentially take her own life? Was it someone that was trying
rival.
to... Oh, it was a
rival of Smoking Mountain said, "Hey, hon,
so
not
his
coming
rival
home."
Was that person
just
trying to get
rival.
to her? Or?
A rival, yeah, went up to her and spread false news. Okay, so yeah, so he went and told her, regardless, a rival for the love.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it didn't mean that it's a
That's
rival
what
at a battle.
Wondering.
I believe it's a rival for love.
Okay.
You know, there are always a bunch of suitors, and how she was known for her gentleness and quiet strength. She was loved not for spectacle, but for steadiness. So she was like, walked that walk, talked that talk, was a steady hand to hold. So there were suitors around, and a rival suitor spread that false news that he was struck down in battle. Told her that too. And any of you reading this or listening to this that are like, wait, that's like another folklore story. It's 100% like Odysseus. And I believe his wife's name was Penelope. But the suitors saying he's gone, he's dead. I mean, she waited 10 plus years, way more than 10 if the Trojan War was 10 years, because it took them a while to get back. But when we want something, and if he had gotten it, it wouldn't have mattered because it was under false pretenses.
Right.
Wouldn't have lasted, wouldn't have been what you wanted. Unless you are someone, I guess he probably would have been with how he acted, that just wanted possession. It wasn't love, it was possession.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's what it was. But again, someone walking in to add a little doubt to your love. Like the sisters with was it Psyche? Yeah.
Yeah.
Eros, yeah, because Eros had to awaken Psyche and she just kept looking at things. You should remember that name since you get so annoyed every time we read her story. But no, it's like that. The sisters came and said, hey, why isn't he showing himself? But what does he look like though? And this one, no, your husband died on the battlefield, or your man, he's not coming back. Mm-hmm. Okay? He's not. And to come back for more though. So Smoky Mountain comes back carrying proof of his triumph. I won the war, but I'm coming home to my lady. My lady earned it for her father, earned it for myself. I'm worthy of this. And she was dead. And I do believe that he knew why she died. So Smoky Mountain, carried her body into the mountains. So he took her body, which means the father, he kept his promise. She is yours. You can mourn her. And he just kept climbing, but their love was the distance. So their longing became geography. It's a volcano and mountain standing tall to symbolize that they never fully got to embrace each other. They were never, because it's not like today's day and age at all with relationships. This was still in a time where there was a process. Now I don't think that there is,
Yeah.
But there was a process. And this also shows the dangers of longing, the dangers of grief. And I'm not going to tell anyone how to grieve for a spouse, because I just think there are some things you never want to deal with in a spouse, and a child lost, I think, are the worst things. But to grieve it because it was because he went for you, I think that's why she did.
That would be so
stopped
hard,
eating because how can you eat if
someone died because they wanted you so bad that
they willingly did it?
No problem.
Because the alternative is I don't get you anyways. So I lose, I don't get you, but I'm a man. I'm Smoky Mountain. The end, how it says, love does not always cross the distance. It longs to close. Sometimes it becomes the distance itself. So just because we love someone and we long for them, it doesn't mean we're going to get what we want. But I do love that he will forever be standing there guarding what he loves. And the fact that she's the mountain and he's a volcano. In Aztec tradition, this is not a symbol of failed love, but of enduring presence. Longing does not disappear with death. It reshapes the world. What cannot reunite in life may still stand together in eternity. They were reunited beyond life.
Yeah, for sure.
Their symbolism is for us.
A lot of that, like if there is any symbolism from something like within one of these stories, 1,000,000%, it is not for them. It is for us to look at afterwards and be like, wow,
how
wake
beautiful
up.
too. These folklores, all these stories, yeah, they suck, and they, some are really hard to read. When you look into them, you see more of how sad they really are. We just hear part of these and we think that it's sad, but how beautiful that your love left a stamp on the world, though. You get eternity together, but because you're like these gods, God himself, they look at you and say, that's worth leaving a scar on my body, Earth's body, for them. They get it. They suffered on this plane, but they stuck with who they wanted. That longing was it. And so they went into the next life, knowing, I truly believe that, like the last one, I'll see you in the next one then.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon kind of mentality. And that was respected by the gods. You're going to stand tall because that's the love that people should remember. That steadfast love, that protection, And that's what these stories teach too, is that, yeah, there's a lot of suck, and you have to walk through the suck when you're healing. You also have to walk through the beauty and recognize what you're not noticing to heal too. And this one shows you that appreciation of things when you have them, the risk and what is worth risking for, and just staying with that and going, yeah, but he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. And then he came back and he got eternity with her. I'm sure I would like to look more into this, because part of me is like really hoping that he struck down that rival.
Yeah, you know what? That's one of the things that has been it's the whole story. I'm like, so what happened? And I've been waiting for you to be done with this for me to say, can we fucking look this up? Because I want to know if he beat that dude's ass.
I do want to know too.
I want to.
Yeah, I know. Part of me was like, oh, that person would be
dead.
You're going to suffer.
Yeah.
You're going to stare at the mountain that I carry her to. And I will make
it. Who's to say that
didn't
get what he didn't get something?
Like, he may not have even had to approach that guy because the dad was still there.
Well, and not just that. So, like, they didn't know he was dead, right? Or I'm sorry. They didn't know that he was alive.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that she was dead, right? But in that time, so the guy that said, hey, he's dead, right? Trying to get her hand. Who's to say that she didn't do something to make that guy be like, well, that was a waste of time, all for naught. And then he's, kicking rocks somewhere before any of the lie that he spout made a big difference.
And that's what I wonder. Did that man come home? Because here's how it's happening in my head.
Okay.
I see the dad watching his girl grieve, because he's the one that said, you do this, you get her. And he probably knew that they were at least winning the war, because they were still winning. And so he saw that, and it was caused by this person. Because you would ask, why? Who told you that?
Yeah.
And then you told him, so it's as the father watching your daughter die, because she loved deeply, and you're like, but you're doing
as soon as I seen dude running or heard that he was alive, other dude as the father, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Done. And it's not going to be fun.
So it's like that, but then that little bit of not knowing, but then seeing him walk in and thinking of that person, because you're already mad at him. Why did you tell her anyways? Our reflection question is, what does my heart continue to reach for, even when it cannot touch? Mm. So what does our heart continue to reach for, even though it can't touch it? That's what we're going to think about today. And with February 3rd, the longing. This is one of my favorite activities. I was very excited. So I made all of this stuff in December. I am obviously looking at my screen. I'm not looking at the camera the whole time. Because no, I did not memorize 365 days, and I didn't memorize 4 stories per day 365 times. I didn't do that. But when I wrote this out, I remember writing this application and I was excited to do it because it's something that I do a lot. I'm someone that likes to write my emotions out. I feel that some of my best and some of my worst and some of my most painful to read things have been when I was so emotional that the only thing I could do was write it down. That's actually when I started thinking I might want to become an author, because it allows you to express what you feel in that moment. And I've looked back on things and gone, I do remember feeling that way. I don't feel that way anymore. But today's activity is that you're going to write a letter you will never send. I love doing these. I really do. I love writing letters to people, good or bad, and just letting it out and then letting it rest.
I've seen that for energy work so often, of that practice of writing something down, and you could intend on sending it, but once you wrote it down and get that energy out, it's best to just get rid of it, because there's no reason to spark that energy anymore if you need to, especially if it's something negative. Like, you were a big blah, blah, blah to me. Just getting that off your chest and off of you, not trying to start something is beautiful.
And I've written a letter like this when I was longing. Longing is the emotion. Longing and grief are the two that I've done the most with this. Where, okay, so you can write the letter you'll never send, naming what you miss. So naming what you miss without asking it to return. So not only are you not sending it, but you're intentionally not asking it to return. This is what I miss. The power in that really is good energy work. Yeah. I've written letters to people that I didn't send, where I just told them how angry I was. Unfiltered, because when you don't send it, you're not asking them to apologize. You're not asking for anything. I can be emotional. I don't have to be factual. I'm just letting it out. And this is how I feel. Something that's really cool now is that we have the ability to talk to our AIs. So you could write the letter, you could write it. I physically love writing it because I can see when I look back on it where the emotion was really strong.
Yeah, just the way
your
you're
handwriting
writing it.
changes.
Yeah.
I'm also a sucker and love those teardrops hitting the paper and seeing them dried up, because it does feel good when you look back and you're like, wow, thank goodness I let this rest here. Because I pulled that out the other day and I was like, I didn't even know I had this still.
That would have been good to like burn it and let that energy go too.
Right.
I mean, but there's a bunch of different ways you can do stuff like that. You can fold them, discard it, like however.
I want to do the string one. I like the string one, and I know I need to for some people, and it doesn't have to be romantic love for you to need to step away from them.
Yeah, for sure.
And that energy work is, but like the 2 candles and you have that piece of string between, and you circle stuff and you say an intentional burning thing to actually burn that thread
between you and the other.
It's burning your connection to them. It's burning your thread. You're going to write the letter. You're never going to send it. You're not going to ask for anything. What do you miss? What do you feel? It's a beautiful opportunity to admit what mistakes we make. Let the truth spill out. Let your truth spill out. No one's going to come look at it and fact check you. No one's going to come invalidate you. And if you're invalidating yourself, I really recommend you stop. Because if the whole world's already invalidating you, you don't need yourself to do it.
Right. Not at all.
So while you do that and while you think about what your heart continues to reach for, you might write this down and realize this isn't something I'm willing to miss. You know, and say, nope, I wrote this, I did this activity, and you know what? I'm not willing to miss you anymore. And that might be something too. But you're going to remember that longing is love remembering itself across space. Before we let you guys go today, we just wanted to show you. So this is our book, The Pilgrimage, right? Snow White. Snow White's a duo. So it's the first book of our chronicles. We're doing a pretty large series. Some will be standalone while others are cliffhangers, like 2 or 3. What we're doing is we're mixing a fairy tale, Snow White, mixed with a type of mythology, as you can tell, Egyptian, mixed with a classic literature piece. We aren't just editing the stories to make them fit. There's some things about the dwarfs that are brand new, never been said, never been done in any Snow White rendition. But this is a heavy self-healing book. So as I say that, and the reason why I'm saying this is not to sell our book to you today. The reason I'm saying this is to show you the picture within this that is used to symbolize longing. Because I think it's the best one. So this is longing. This is how it's symbolized within our book. Lots of questions you may have, but this is longing. And I truly believe that that kind of misty feeling, the other day we talked about how it rained and the mist was reaching back up Mother Earth. That's how longing can feel. You're not wrong for feeling clouded. You're not wrong for not being able to think or feel. And yes, I'm saying that because I'm talking to myself most of the time. But remember that as you go into today and you write your letter. And if you want to see more pictures, let us know. We have a bunch of different emotions that we showed through this. But just remember, you're not in this alone. And listen to your heart. Acknowledge your feelings. And remember that longing is love remembering itself across space and time. So that's all that we have for you today for February 3rd. That's all that we have for you guys today, February 3rd, the longing. We have 4 more days of week 1, the awakening of love for February. And tomorrow is all about the pursuit. So it's not just our longing and wanting something. Now we're pursuing it. So join us tomorrow for the pursuit. And thank you guys for coming in today.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Thank you for walking this journey with me today. These stories are more than folklore. They are the heartbeat of our world building, the inspiration behind our characters, and the soul of the Legends Reborn Chronicles. By exploring these tales, we honor the past, ignite the present, and breathe life into the legends we're creating together. To see more of Mark and I, as well as additional scenes, discussions, and healing, check the links below that will lead you to our various social media platforms. Please also feel free to ask any questions or leave any comments in the episode below or in future episodes to come. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, may your path be guided by wonder, curiosity, and the magic of the stories that came before us. Blessings, and I'll see you on our next folklore journey.